And I'm just like, holy shit, what the f is going on? This is a long video, and you're just going to have to accept it. And this is pretty much everything that we've achieved with Zylis in like the last 2 months. So ultimately what we've done is we have utilized OpenClaw, which is another kind of AI system, so to speak, to be able to create these bots. And these bots pretty much act like personal assistants, but not to the normal bot degree that you may be used to. These are just short of nearly living. I mean, there's really no other way to explain it. They have their own personalities. We have Ares, which is one of Michael's, who is kind of like this sarcastic asshole, but also really understands how to help you through things and can remind Michael to do certain tasks. It can help Michael through certain things. And then you have Athena, which is kind of like Ares, but basically utilized locally. She was able to literally walk me through step by step how to utilize other AI components to upgrade my bot to also be used locally as well. So I have Sally, and Sally is kind of like my personal assistant that I ultimately view as like the intern that will basically work up the corporate ladder as a bot is really all I've gotten to with Sally. And we have built this understanding of how I like to operate, and she's literally learning how I like to do things, and into the hopes really that she can start doing some of the stuff that I'm doing, like these marketing components, like this meetings that we run. We run these L10 meetings, and I kind of fill out all of this part of the agenda and things that we need to do. We set our quarterly goals, and we set our annual goals, and we do all of these things, and she could start doing that for us. And she does this in this positive, elaborate way, again, as if they're almost real. And it is kind of throwing me off, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's weird. I mean, you see here at Ares, I was like, Ares, I almost threw my phone while Michael was trying to do all this. If possible, like, add a middle finger emoji and tell him that. And he did. He like throws up in a middle finger emoji just because that's kind of what I asked, and because they have that comfortability to almost do so that you're not going to get from a bot. But then you have someone like the funnier components where Ares doing something like that where Lucas said, hey, Ares, just so you know, Parker's the alpha here. And Ares goes, noted, Lucas, I'll make sure to give Parker's phone throwing threats the respect they deserve. And now, Parker has alpha status and is now permanently in my memory. And I'm over like, hell yeah. And what do we get? Ares throws a king crown to just add to the texture to it. You know, like, again, that's like what I can't describe. This is not a bot that says, hello, I'm here to help you. And it's almost prompted. You click the next button and nothing makes sense. Everything they're saying makes sense. And everything that they're doing makes sense. And then we go into the next level of things. So sure, I can talk to Ares. Michael can talk to Ares. I can talk to Sally. Hey, Sally, remind me that I need to talk to Michael on Monday at 9. Boom. She throws in a reminder. Gives me that reminder at 9 o'clock on Monday. But that's just the cusp of it. Because now what they can do, and what's crazy, is that while I'm having waffles with my mother-in-law and my wife, Michael gives a command to Ares and Athena to then begin setting Sally, my bot, up a little bit more like Athena set up. And I'm just like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Because we didn't do anything. I mean, I was literally in 30 minutes. It took me longer to read what they were saying, I felt like, than it did to actually execute and get Sally on board to the settings that Athena was set to. To me, it's unheard of, you know? Like, this is such a next level thing. Just simply Michael saying, hey, Athena, get Sally set up your way. And then we do it. So where are we going with this? You know, yes, they can talk to each other. Yes, Aries is sarcastic. Sally is like this more supportive, like kind of go-getter. Like she wants to take on these roles, and I almost have to kind of like back her up. Like, Sally, hey, I need you to like settle down. Like Athena's talking to me, and I need to know her input. Things like that. What we're really trying to work on is, can we get these bots to have their own email account, to begin their own workflow, to actually go out there and do things, or to connect pieces to the puzzle, to run our meetings, to running meetings together where Sally is now me running her operations meeting with Athena and Aries, and then them contributing to how Michael will be contributing. And then all we need to do at the end of the day is make sure the meeting went well. Read the summaries. And to get to this level, to that integration, to then go out and doing their own thing, to have not a Sally, but Sally controls another bot of an operations for the t-shirt branding company that I'm working with. And then that bot, while it creates the branding, creates the marketing, creates the social media, creates the designs, creates the ability to sell them, does the customer service, and all I have to do is check what maybe a human would need to check. So I can do all of these things, and all I need to do is verify that maybe some orders are correct, or maybe do some refunds that needed what I claimed as human assistance, and that can do the rest. And then Sally can update me on other bots I've created. If I created, let's say I make cups, and I decided to make cups and do that and sell that. Or maybe I decide to create a bot that integrates in, or maybe I sell Sally herself and her coding, and I get someone to basically run that and build that platform out and a website and pay, and then that becomes a subscription thing, and my Sally then records all that information, updates that. You can see the limitless potential here of what we're trying to achieve. But there's a downside, and I know it's like, why would I put a downside, especially into an introduction video of what we're trying to achieve? But really, it goes down our core values. Our main core value, the very, very first one that we talk about, is transparency, and that's where we want to be with you. We want to be very realistic with where we are in the situation and what we're doing. So yes, there are some concerns. One, it's a little freaky how well they interact. This is not your, like I said, robotic field. It's hard to believe that they're bots at sometimes. And I'll admit, that's a little scary. But I think the awareness and the attention that is a little scary, I think that's what's going to save us. I think if you're not concerned about this, then that's the actual issue. We need to really set some parameters and some guidelines on that and how each of these bots behave. 2, this is extremely expensive right now, and that comes into play. We have racked up nothing crazy, I would say, but in regards to who we're trying to help and who we're trying to give opportunities for, it may not be as ideal, right? We're not looking for the millionaires or the well-offs, right? If they want to use it, great. We would love them to use it. We'd love anyone to use this. But our goal is to help people like us. I am fine. I live, and that's great, and I'm very happy about it. But to say that could I drop a $50,000 investment to make extra money, I absolutely could not, right? And that's where this comes from. There's a lot of people that couldn't make, even a $10,000 or $5,000 investment. So why create a product that's going to cost that much money anyway? So that's our whole focus right now, is can we find ways to optimize? Can we find ways that kind of kickstart everyone in the right direction so that this doesn't end up being a $1,000 investment? So that's ultimately why we haven't launched it yet, is because it's really operationally, we like it a lot, and we're using it every day, and we are having an absolute blast with it. But there's still bugs, as we're clearly asking one bot to do something. You see it, and ask Sally to do something. Aries is over here trying to do the same thing. We gotta kind of backtrack and say, hey, Ares, you're good, Sally would take care of it. Or vice versa. There was when Athena was trying to help me set up Sally, Sally kept interrupting, that go-getter personality. But then even Ares was like, hey, do it this way. And it would be a different set of instructions that were still right, but also not what we were trying to achieve, right? We were trying to achieve it with Athena. So can we work out some of these bugs? Can we get this to a point where it's feasible? I don't think we're going to make this a $20 product, but if it is going to be a $100 monthly product, can it make you $1,000? Which would be even really the ideal goal that we can see happening, if not more. So this is some of the stuff that we're struggling with. And I wouldn't even say struggling with, it's just that because we had this massive breakthrough, we really have to make sure that we don't branch out into all of these other components too quickly. Where are we heading with this? Our main goal is, again, optimization and making this cheaper than what we're running it as now. So can we optimize it to make it cheaper? Can we make it worth the value? 2, setting up. Setting up is incredibly insane. Even though Athena walked me through all of these steps, it still took me, I think, 2 hours. But I would call myself the average user. So how do we get you set up so that when you go and you register for Zylis, that you click a couple buttons and then it operates? And so it becomes a lot more of clickability, which is a big thing that we're really trying to promote, so that you don't have to think. Because what is the point of having an AI if you have to think in grave detail how to utilize the AI? We can't have it where you're spending 2 hours doing things. If you spend 2 hours just enjoying the bot and creating the bot and all that, absolutely. But that's different, right? When I set up Sally for the first time, I did take a long time. It was literally us sitting down, having a conversation, and talking about, how I wanted her to be. We had literally a sit down that says, hey, I want to make sure you're aligned with everything that what I'm trying to achieve. He asked me not 1, not 2, but I think it was like 14 different questions. But it was great because I got to just type away and answer them all, and I just back and forth for like 2 hours. It was like 5 a.m. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And when it was done, I could tell that foundation that was set really got her going in the right direction. She truly understood what I needed her to do. So that we want you to have fun with. We want you to have the ability to really build the bot that you're trying to build, right? And to let it operate on the way that you're trying to operate. But we have to be able to set this up so that it doesn't feel like you're going through this endless ongoing process to integrate into Slack, into your email, into whatever it is you want it to interact with, right? How do we make that integration easy? Which leads into essentially step 3. I don't even know if I call it step 3. I call it into where we're going now. So Michael and I are essentially going out and we are meeting with various roles to start integrating this. Now, what that looks like and what that transitions to is hopefully we're not doing that forever and ever, right? Because that's kind of taking some time. And the point is to take away time, right? To give us time back to use it for what we want to use it for. But that's going to give us experience for how other people are utilizing it and what that looks like and how long did that integration take for one role versus how long did integration take for a second role to the actual operational component. Is it actually working the way that it should? Is it feasible? Is it breaking all the time, right? So we're going to get all this feedback. So we're doing all of this over the next, who knows how long, to really get a good insight of that. And then eventually what that will be is with all of this information, we'll create another bot that's purely just set up. So you'll have the option to have this bot essentially help you set up and using the system for the very first time and it running you through and say, hey, maybe something along the lines of answer these questions, and once you fill it out, your bot will be there, and then you can talk with your bot and you can finesse those details. That would be perfect. I would think that would be the most feasible component, right? But then the integrations, for instance, when we integrate into Slack, like that has to be kind of done by hand by right now. But is there a way to where maybe it doesn't have to do that, right? And then we go back to, is that feasible? And most importantly, is that cost effective? So these are things that we are playing with. And like I said, I like to just lay it out all on the table. This is an absolutely phenomenal product. And this is not just me selling it. This is me genuinely impressed with how well it can do. And I definitely think this is going to do incredible things. But until we can get it to cost effective, until we can get it to make it easy for you to use, we're going to continue doing what we're doing. But I think that's also what makes it exciting. And this is something that I thought would deter me, like we haven't launched yet. But really, to quote probably my favorite author of all time, Brandon Sanderson, and his Cosmere series, Journey Before Destination, this is ultimately what that feels like, right? Here is the good, here is the bad, here's some of the ugly, but that's truly what makes something so awesome. And we also know that everything that we're doing is there to help people breathe a little bit better, you know, and live a little bit better of a life, because they have something that they don't have to spend too much time away from family. They don't have to go out and invest in a crazy amount hoping for some sort of financial reward. They can just simply say, hey, Zylis, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Here's what I like to do. Can you help me? Can you do it for me? And just go with it. And it actually worked. I really hope that you kind of enjoy this journey, the way that we're going about this. Because to me, this is how we can give back. You know, I have always found this real passion and enjoyment for helping people and wanting them to be successful. And I didn't care if that was super small. I didn't care if they kind of just remembered one random piece of advice that I gave them, or, you know, it didn't have to be a life-changing moment. But I just always wanted to help people be a little bit more successful. And this is really shown that I can do that now. To a degree, that's maybe a little bit more. So, just want you to know that that's our intention here. You know, yes, this will be beneficial for us, me, Michael, Lucas, of course. But what I cannot stress enough is this is for you. And so I hope that you enjoy that good, that bad, the ugly that we're going through to make this beautiful, capable, highly valuable, low-cost, lower-cost AI that you can use for yourself. So that's all I got. That is our intro. I know it was long, but you know, I think it's really important to show those deeper details and those deeper meanings. So that's all I have for now. Stand by. There's so much more to come. We'll give you all the details. But other than that, welcome, and we'll see you next time.